So in this video, this woman gives Passport Bros one of the biggest reality checks that they'll ever get. Let's hear what she has to say.
Look, if you want to go abroad and find a traditional woman to spend the rest of your life with, that's totally okay. But what you have to realize is regardless of where you are in the world, energy doesn't lie. And just because a woman is more traditional doesn't mean she's an idiot. So if you're going abroad, you're getting your passport and you're going abroad with the intention to try to manipulate and gaslight women who don't speak English as well and aren't really accustomed to Western men and their mentalities and their manipulation tactics, know for certain that your energy's not gonna lie.
Most of these Passport Bros go overseas with the intention of sexually exploiting the local women. And they deliberately go to impoverished and destitute areas where the women are looking for a come up. Those women will do almost anything for money to feed their families. And just because she's willing to have sex with an American man who's willing to pay her for it, that doesn't mean that these men are actually getting women. All they're doing is paying women to have sex, aka tricking off on them.
Your energy's not gonna lie, no matter how much you try to cover it up, no matter how many fancy dinners you take her to, how many gifts you buy, how many compliments you give her. If you have negative underlying intentions, they will show up in your energy and she will pick up on it. That's one. The second thing that I feel like you guys are completely forgetting about is that these traditional women are super protected by the men in their families. So if you ever go abroad and try to mess with one of these girls, these traditional women, you do her wrong or you cheat on her or you lie to her, she's gonna send the men in her family after you.
There have been several reports over the last couple months of Passport Bros being found dead overseas. And it possibly can be attributed to the point that this woman just made about these foreign women's families are going to be ultra protective of her, especially with you being a foreigner. These Passport Bros think that this is all a game and that they can treat foreign women the way they treat American women. But there's going to be a rude awakening coming to these men if they think that they're going to get away with it. These so-called traditional women that these men are chasing after overseas are going to want to be treated with traditional values.
And they will beat your ass and probably unalive you. They probably will. You know why? Because you're a foreigner who came to their country to mess with their women that they actually respect. The main lesson here, to be really blunt, is to not feel like you're untouchable just because you got a passport and you're in another country. Because your energy can't lie. It can't. You gotta change your intentions in your heart and mind in order for your energy to change. You can't hide it.
Exactly. In other words, you can't just fake it till you make it. Again, these Passport Bros claim to be after traditional women overseas. And of course, traditional values would include meeting her parents and meeting other members of her family. If the particular woman somehow isn't able to see the games that these men are playing, then her family certainly will.
And they may not be able to tell what's wrong with you right away, but eventually they'll figure it out. And if they don't figure it out, when it comes time for you to meet their families, because again, these are traditional women, they don't do the dating, they go right into marriage, which means you have to meet her family and her dad and impress everyone in her family.
Notice how she just said they go straight into marriage. A lot of these Passport Bros are not ready for marriage because they're not even ready to become traditional men. Traditional men value their women. Traditional men respect their women. Traditional men don't kick their women to the curb as soon as she expects you to provide something to the table, more than just sex. So unless these Passport Bros want to exclusively mess with street-walking prostitutes, they're going to have to start growing up and start practicing traditional values if they want traditional women.
If you do all of that successfully, then you got the traditional wife you wanted. Congratulations. Otherwise, before you catch flights, catch this reality check.
And she definitely gave a reality check to these men and provided great information and value, because a lot of these Passport Bro content creators on social media are lying to their male audience and selling false dreams. These content creators are going to get their audience caught up in some foreign country because they thought they could just run amok, as well as do and or say anything to these women. And what's funny is that these men claim to be going overseas to avoid American women who expect them to provide, who expect them to bring something to the table beyond sex. Because as we all know, sex doesn't pay the bills. As a grown man, you need to not only provide financially, but you also need to be emotionally present with your woman, as well as nurture her. But then again, a lot of these men believe that women are only good for sex, so they have little to no respect for women. And also, a lot of these men adhere to red pill and manosphere talking points, many of which are the complete opposite of traditional values. These guys will follow behind the teachings of men such as Andrew Tate, Kevin Samuels, etc. And they'll try to live out this misogynistic fantasy, which will in turn negatively affect their relationships that they have with women. But ultimately, with these passport bros and other groups of sex tourists, the ball is in their court. Unless they start acting like grown men and put aside all of these juvenile mindsets and mentalities towards women, then they'll continue to have relationship and dating related problems. And then, in typical fashion, they'll blame women for all of their problems and all of their failures instead of taking self-accountability. But again, the ball is in their court. If they want to heed the message and heed common sense, then that's great. If they don't, then they're going to be in for a rude awakening, especially if they take these particular mindsets and actions overseas. Because just like what the woman in this video said, these foreign women's families aren't going to put up with nonsense from American men. If you mistreat their daughters, their sisters, their nieces, etc., then they're going to come after you and teach you a lesson. And those lessons will of course have severe consequences, which could result in death. So this isn't a game that these men should try to play overseas, because it will quickly backfire. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Much more content is going to come to the channel, so just stay tuned. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and stay tuned to the channel.